Good morning, everybody. Jason Meyer of Meyer Studio. Hope you guys are ready for some morning jump start. We're going to look at 4 paintings today, a variety, and we're going to see if we can push each of them onto the next step. So if this is your first time here, welcome, welcome. I like to mix in all kinds of things from new to very experienced painters. So everybody's welcome, and I feel like everybody can pick something up, and especially if we do different levels through the time. So what are we talking about? Well, we're going to talk about some feedback. So let's head over to the iPad and just get started. Let's see, we got Susan here this morning. Good morning, Susan. And good day to ya. Good day. All right, Karen D's in the house. Hello, Karen. All right, well let's see. Let's add a window. Let's do, and we're ready to go. Whoop. We don't need that. Okay. So we've been talking about this, and you've worked on it, and I think there's a lot more clarity than there was before. And yeah, I think you're ready to go ahead and start refining some of this. We might clarify a little bit of the values and colors just a little bit. I think the thing I would do, or something for you to consider, maybe a better way to say it, is I would take this foreground, right, encompassing, and then I would just make crystal clear that, for instance, the dark up here, and which way we got to decide which way this light is coming. If it's kind of coming in this way, yeah. So I think the light kind of coming in like this. So if we're a ball, we can light up that side. So for the face, right, the nose and stuff would be that side. That side. And then that's going to, what's that going to do? It's going to cast shadows like that on the neck. Cast shadows. I'm just kind of thinking this through, making sure that's what we want to do. Yeah, I think that might actually work real well there. And then the initial point I was making is we want to make sure that, like, the darks in this foreground are just head and shoulders darker and above the background, right, or the cliffs. Even if the cliffs are a lot of the focus, things like that. So I have a feeling well, we'll see. We'll see. I have feelings all the time, and that doesn't mean nothing. So, again, if the lights... Wait a minute. What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? So that would be shadow there. And... maybe there a little bit. Okay, and the hair... So I'm going to probably work a little bit more today than talk. That's okay. And you're welcome to let me know your questions if you have them. So I'm just thinking the dark side, that's a little... Again, this might be rough, but we're just going to get ideas here. Because if something's got light, it's got to have shadow. If that hair... And it's not going to be outlined necessarily like I have it. but it'll be shadow. So that light and shadow, and then like the blue, let's see. That just seems, it's the right idea in the hue of the sky family, but I think what I would do is I'd make the shirt a bit darker, richer, so it comes forward. And then by doing that, that sky will feel like it's back, more distant. And if she's standing next to him, if he's in light. And something like that. Okay, so a little bit of a richer color, and then the same on the skin tones too. I might drop them down just a bit so highlights can sit on them very cleanly. Let's see, where's our skin tone going to be? Where's our skin tone going to be? Maybe that looks a little too mustardy to me. Well, let's play this out. Let's play it out. Let's not judge too early. Let's not judge too early. Okay, so it's a little yellow. We definitely need some more red in there. But I almost feel like the people's skin tones in that rock was reversed a little bit. Meaning that we can push that rock back by making it grayer. Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What happened? Okay, so I don't know if you can see, so it's not a lot, but what's happening is like there's a lot of yellow in here, and so taking a lot of that yellow and red out is going to put a little bit of distance, right? Atmospheric perspective. Between, you know, their skin tones and that. And then if this is our light, maybe the shadows back there aren't quite so dark, so they're not as dark as up front. All right, you see how it lost a little coolness, so we could still go, you know, dark if we wanted to. Back there, that might be a little heavy too. Is that too much? Is that too much? It looked okay in small amounts, but as we kind of get it all over the shadows, it looked a little bit much to me. So you see that heaviness in the background. If we could take that out, then that foreground will pull off of that background, and that can sit back there. Then we can always gray this out more if it needs to be. But I would definitely try to get some sort of separation in there, right? Separation, the right word I'm looking at. Well, just enough impact, right, on the viewers. Make sure they're clear enough. Okay, good. Good. I hope that helps out. And then with the sky, you know, depending on, sometimes we want to look at the sky and sometimes we don't in a painting, right? It always has the same kind of skylight and lit, but we could take it down a little bit and maybe even warm it up a little bit. All right, so that too, you see as I do that, it's definitely darker, but that color's pretty intense. That color's pretty you know what? I don't not hate it. And with the blue on him, I think that looks good. And then what if we just, why don't we say we grade that off and brought it up and maybe, so it's in the family but a little bit different. And then maybe on the railing up here, there'd be a little bit brighter or something. Right, again, that's just going to help to set them off looking at these objects. So I hope that gives you some ideas, but yeah, go for it. Go for the refinement, and then check in again and let us know how it goes. One last thing here just for near to far. Let's excuse me. Let's get some shadows on these guys. Maybe warm them up a little bit. All right, so the shadow on the skin tone. All right, we don't want it black, but something like that. And you see how it didn't really look too fleshy until that kind of red warm shadow goes on there, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, that could actually pass for flesh. Okay, so shadow's a big part of that. And again, one way to separate them from that green background might be to maybe pump up that warmth a little bit in the shadows. Right, you see how that'll separate from this color better than that almost brown or warm than I had before. Like I said, it's always a measure, so you want to keep your eyes out. For the dark, what I'll do is I'll do slightly darker and warmer, like if there was black hair. So shadow would be something like that. And then for the light and dark, it's still going to stay really dark. What I'm going to do is just a little bit with the value. And I'm going to take the color a bit cooler. Ah, that was too much. That's too much, too much, too much. Maybe that's enough right there. So, and again, I know that's warm, but hopefully that gives you a sense as you can keep the dark and light, if they have dark hair, still as a dark, but it's going to be just slightly lighter and cooler than the dark and shadow. Okay. Oh, and the whole point of that was to set up highlights nose and wherever they might be, right? Again to help kind of set them off and bring them forward. Maybe it's on their hands as well, you know, make sure to give those hands shadows. Then what you want to do is you want to weaken that color down a little bit. Maybe gray it off. And then back here where you have this, you see how much cooler this is? And it's because I want the highlights on the people to quote unquote be stronger or appear like they're a lot closer. And even if this is like quote unquote a white, Well, first off, we're going to be seeing it through a atmosphere, through layers of air. And second of all, I'm going to guess living up there on a rock wall for all those years, it's probably not quite so clean. So for both of those reasons. And then let's see the effect that has. Again, I think that has the effect of kind of pushing that back. You know, and the longer I look at this, the more I dislike that shadow. And that's what it means. Sometimes you just have to put some things down and then you can come back later and adjust it if it needs to be. See, that seems way too light to me, but is that more appropriate for back there? It's really dark when you compare it to the light. So let's see, is that a better shadow or better atmosphere? It's definitely separates off from the people in front better. Right? And look at the value difference between what I had the first time and what I'm doing now. And so sometimes it takes some finessing. Right? And of course we might not have those hard edges and all of that. Okay. Hello. Cindy's here with us. It's always a good thing. Again, thankfully, she will be here this afternoon for the studio time. I'm going to leave this right here. Let's do some before and after real quick before we move on to the next one. So what I wanted to do, again, was bring the richer color that's back on the far cliffs up forward. And then the lighter grayer color that's like on their skin tone, send that back. So almost reverse that. And then I made sure to really separate the lights and the shadows near to far and let that read. And I came up with something like that. Okay, so I hope that gives you some ideas to take this to the next level and then send it back. You know, let me know. Or, package it up and send it off as the gift. Put a price tag on it, stick it in the gallery. Wherever it goes. Wherever it goes. All right, good job. So next up, how's everybody doing? Are we doing okay this morning? We're going to have a teapot and an apple. So this is a little bit unusual. Well, I shouldn't say unusual. This was from an assignment in a different class. And so there's just going to be some things, and it was already very well started. But we're going to see what we can do to push them forward, and I hope what I say makes sense. And let's see. So, some great paint quality and stuff in there. There's a lot of energy in the brushwork. So, the first thing you should always do is look. Look. Don't think you know, but actually look. So what I would like to see, what's a better way of putting that? I think one thing that could make your paintings more powerful, more effective, and this painting in general, is one thing is we're going to get a little clearer on the light source. And then we're going to do some light darks. And I know this was from something that was already done. But it's hard for me to just work off of that because I generally, I never copy. I'm always looking at designing a good two-dimensional surface in a visually interesting way. Right? So I could, and it might take some while to understand this, but in my experience, painting or drawing an apple and painting and drawing a teacup, painting and drawing anything leads to basically not very interesting, not very visually interesting paintings. Now you can manipulate those things of size and placement and action and improve it. But after being stuck on things for a long time, I discovered that if you shifted the subject matter, what you were looking at, or where your shapes were originating from, meaning instead of trying to find a shape of an apple and a shape of a teapot, if instead we would look for a light shape and a shadow shape. Almost always, basically always, at least the potential is there for the painting to be 1,000 times greater than if you based your visuals on the shapes of the objects within the painting, right? The advantage of doing the light shapes and the dark shapes is, one thing is what you can do is you can arrange things so that the light shapes and the dark shapes connect to other light shapes and dark shapes. The fewer shapes you have in the painting, the more powerful the painting can be. So if I can have a single dark shape in my painting,